And hello everyone, welcome back to another HTML tutorial. So in this tutorial we'll be looking at a common HTML page structure. So there's a lot of ways you can structure your page, but generally this is what is considered a kind of a goodish way to do it. So yeah, we'll learn about a few extra elements in this tutorial as well, so that would be kinda great. So first we have the header. Not to be confused with the head. The head and the header are two completely different things. The header tag means it's basically the top of the web page. It's the title. It's the website. Basically the H1 of the website will go in here and be like so this is a topic about fishing in the north. I don't know how to spell hemisphere, so I'm just going to say north. So basically, it's the page title, and maybe let's say a p tag underneath it saying some extra info about the title. There we go. It doesn't do anything special. This is more for machines. We as humans don't really care too much about this, but it's great for machines because now if you get like a reader or something to read this, they will know, okay, so this right here, that is the header. That's the head section of the website. It will contain the main title and it will contain the branding maybe and the logo and things like that. Then usually underneath it, you will have a nav. The nav is used as a navigation bar. So here we can do something such as an unordered list and say home and maybe, I don't know, store, and let's see, one more could be a good idea, share and donate. Like this could be the navigation to the rest of your website. Now this can usually be multiple ways of implementing navigation. For in this scenario, it's more about the navigation tag itself. When you go to a website, you'll notice they have a navigation. For example, if I go to Odysee, then here, if we would just full screen this, here is their nav. It's their navigation. Here is their header. It contains their logo, and in this case their search bar, notifications, your coins, everything. That's what's happening here. Same with if you maybe search up something such as Afrikaans rugby players. Here we go, Wikipedia. This is actually just where I wanted to go. I didn't know what to Google. And in here, you'll notice here is kind of like their navigation. You have your main page, your content. This would be their nav. This right here. As for their header, that could possibly be this part right here. I feel when I start teaching you PHP or some sort of language that allows you to create dynamic websites, you'll understand this more. But just for now, just note that basically this would be the header, this would be the nav because this is the navigation. Same here, this would be the header because it's on the top of the website, and this would be the navigation because it allows you to go places. And that's what's going on here. Okay. Next up we have the article section. Now this would be like the main page section. It will contain all of the things in the article and whatnot. And then that's it. This is the main part. Then inside of it, you'll have a bunch of sections. This is to split all of the sections of the article apart from each other. Because here we can say, some time ago, but nobody really cares, right? And then on the next part, this would be like the next paragraph almost, or more like the next section. It's a bit more than just a paragraph. So yeah, let's go like that. And here we can go create another p tag because they can have multiple p tags. It's not really limited to one or something like that. You can have a bunch of them. So it's just basically an article tag, but it contains a section inside of it, and every section contains all of the content relevant to that section of the website. For example, let's say the first section explains what is phishing in 5 paragraphs. Then those 5 paragraphs will be about what is phishing. Then the next section will contain 2 paragraphs about what feeders to use to catch the fish. That's this. You can think of a section almost as a div. It doesn't serve the entirely same purpose as a div, because a div is more wide, it has a bigger range of things you can do, while a section is more for just text. It's just basically for text. Now this article right here, it can also be replaced with main, because it's the main content of the website. So it can either be article or main. It doesn't really matter. It's just kind of that you use this to show someone, or to show the robot reading this, that this is the main section of your website. The main content will go inside of here. And in here you could just replace that with maybe a div instead of a section, or you can keep it a section. It doesn't matter, as long as the main content goes in main or article. And yet again, I'm just going to repeat myself here, because you don't have to have a header. You don't have to have a nav. You don't have to have an article or a main tag in your website. You don't need these, although it is good practice to have them, because once a robot wants to read your website, they can easily see this is the main section, this is the main article, this is the ads, this is the navigation, this is the header, this is the footer. So these are optional. You don't need them, but it's good practice to include them. And then yet again, if we were to go to Odysee to show you an example of where it gets used, this would be the main tag right here, because it contains the main content of the website. Future Steve here. So I just want to also tell you something, because I forgot to mention this. But if this is the main tag, right, this whole page is basically the main tag, then this part right here, before this view more and below this we have big plans for 2022, these right here, that would be a section. Then this pop culture would be its own section until view more, so this would be its section. Education would be a section. So it's a way to split up your web page. That's just something you want to take note of. Now back to the video. And in here, this would be the article or the main tag, because it contains the main stuff of the website. And this would also be a nav tag. This might even be an aside tag, which we'll get to in a second. And then yet again here would be main, and in fact, I think this could even be considered part of the header, because it's not part of the main content. Or if you use an article, this could just be part of a section. Anyhow, you didn't have to worry too much about structuring this out or whatnot. Just know that you can use these tags to basically make your website more beautiful for robots. Then you have an aside tag. Now, the aside tag is basically for extra information, like related links, or for example, this right here. This can be the aside tag because it has related links. It's not navigation to the rest of the website. Like this would take you to another place in the website. So there you see, we are now at the same web page, but just at a different location. This right here will take you off of the web page to something else. So this would be the aside. Here, I don't know, do we have an aside? We might have an aside, but I have no idea. Most of this just seems to me, yeah, I don't know if we have an aside here. But, yeah, so, whoa, my bad. So yeah, the aside is just for extra links. It's basically like a second nav. This can also contain like extra content that is related or extra information. You know, you could also maybe put like an ad in there or something whatnot. This is just a side. It's like something extra on the page. People usually don't need to see it. It's optional for them to see it. But it is on the page if they want to see it. So here we can maybe put something like best fish to try and catch is the ball python. There we go. So there we go. As you can see, it doesn't really change anything in terms of styling or whatnot, but it's just on the side. And then last but not least, we have the footer, and arguably the most important part of the web page, the one you'll probably be using the most. This is for information like copyright, privacy policies, terms of use, maybe like related links to this article as well. Anything that you might want to put at the end of your web page can go here. So we could maybe say create an unordered list with links inside of them. So here we go, and then we can say home and I don't know, share. So almost the same as that. And then here we can go more about us. There we go, more about us. And then afterwards we can go and create a p tag. We can say and copy, and here we can say 2022. And there you go. Now we have a footer. It's for the end of the web page. It is to share more things. It is kind of to close off. You'll notice this the most when you go to a website, is the footer. And here, for example, I believe if we were to go to the whole end of the website, there we go. This is considered the footer of the web page. Privacy policy, about Wikipedia, disclaimers. Here is the copyright things that you might want to know about, the cookies, the developers, whatnot. And I don't know, Odysee may have, but I can't confirm it. Let's go look here. And yes, they do. Here is their footer. Community guidelines for you can ask questions, support, terms, privacy policy. It's at the whole end of the website. Usually it's at the bottom. Not always, because some websites has an infinite scrolling feature where basically you can scroll and scroll and scroll forever and they'll just provide you with more content. Websites such as YouTube or Kitsu has this. Like if you go to the YouTube homepage, you can basically scroll down forever. You won't just find the end. So they don't have a footer at the bottom of their webpage. Same with Kitsu. They basically have an infinite scroll. So it's very difficult to actually get to the end. So yeah, that is the footer. And these are just the ones I wanted to talk about today because it contains some useful things you might want to know more about. So the header, basically anything that's on the top of the web page. The nav for the navigation on the web page. The main or article. This is for the main content of the web page. Div or section is to split your content into multiple items, multiple parts. Aside, things that can go on the side of the web page. It's not required to be on the web page, but it is on the side if you want to read that extra information. The footer, what's on the bottom of the web page, including like copyright stuff mostly and links for the developers and whatnot. Not all web pages need this structure though. You should just take that as note. Some websites just don't need it. It depends on what your website is and what your website's needs are. If your website literally needs a header and then directly underneath it a navigation and then on the side an article and on this side and a side, you then do it. But if your website doesn't need it, most thing you need to know is just that these tags exist. You know, if you can use them, then do. Instead of just putting this, making this a div at the end of your website, make it a footer. Because then a screen reader will know, okay, I don't have to read this last part because it's the footer. It's just a bunch of links and unnecessary information. Same with aside. Aside might be an optional to read. Main is what we're mostly interested in, so let's read that. That is the basics. Thank you all for watching. I hope you all enjoyed, and I'll see you all again in the next HTML tutorial.